Welcome to the Resiliency1st Podcast, where science meets service. I'm your host, Susan Farron, founder of First Responders Resiliency and a former paramedic, and I am completely committed to supporting my fellow first responders and their families. Each episode, we bring you proactive, evidence and research-based tools to tackle the physical, emotional, and neurological impacts of our careers, helping first responders and their families build resilience for life, not just the job. This is how we put PTSD out of business. This is Resiliency First. Hey, hello everybody. This is the Resiliency1st Podcast. It's one of our first video podcasts, so let's hope my lipstick is good. And we're going to do a conversation today with Michael Donner. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Susan.
So glad to have you here at the party. Michael is a 32-year veteran of the Oakland Fire Department. And since I cut my teeth in Oakland, we find out, much to our chagrin, that we were stationed a block away from each other. So obviously we ran calls together.
Yes, but since we're old, I don't think we remember each other.
Yes, since you're old, we may not remember, and I may have looked right past above. Anyway, so Michael and I were just talking. He came to our conference about a year ago. And Michael, I'd love for people to learn a little bit about you. You have a really colorful history with the Oakland Fire Department, and we'll ask a couple of questions. Number one, how did you end up in the fire department? That would be like one of the earliest questions.
That's a really such a simple answer.
Tell me.
I was lost at 19 years old. So I took the test for Oakland Fire when I was 19.
Wow.
And my afro at the time would have probably filled this room.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so I was fresh out of high school, and I called one of my best friends, and because we always hung out on weekends, and I said, "What are you doing today?" And he said, "I'm going to go apply for the fire department." And I said, "I'm coming with you."
Wow.
So that is how I was introduced to the fire service. Completely.
You fell into it.
Yeah.
And what did you, early memories, what did you love about when you first walked into a firehouse? What was the feeling that you got that you thought, I could do this for the rest of my life?
Well, that's a really interesting story. When I didn't think I could do it for the rest of my life. It's a hard job. Mm-hmm. I'm the owner of a really beautiful heart. Mm-hmm. And when I went to my first fatal call, I said, I don't think I can do this for the rest of my life. And then as time went on and more calls came along, unfortunately, my brain did a really excellent job of protecting me.
Yeah.
And I stored the memory somewhere. I never processed.
Wow. So you compartmentalized, disassociated, did what most of us do in order to be repeatedly exposed to violence and trauma.
Yeah.
You just shut off a part of who you are in an effort to be great at what you do.
Yeah. I was really good at what I did. I didn't like my job. I loved my job.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Yeah.
My body doesn't.
Yeah. It's keeping receipts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's keeping receipts.
I have a bag of them.
Yeah. This is what happened when you were 24.
23 when I started the fire service. So
right.
I have a son that's 24 right now. And when I look at how mature, but yet how young and naive he is, working for Oakland, I was thrown into the frying pan.
Yeah, you bet. And I can imagine I think I got to Oakland 3 months before my 22nd birthday. So as a mom, same thing. It's like I can't even imagine my kids being exposed to what I was seeing at 21.
Yeah, 80s, 90s, cocaine, crack epidemic, homicides were very common.
Yeah. Way more happening on the streets than what was being reported in the news.
You know what? If everything was reported on the news, people wouldn't leave their homes.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So tell us a little bit, I want to get to the purpose of this podcast today is to talk a little bit about your transformation. I know that your sister made an incredible comment about putting out the fire in your house, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you have a pretty illustrious career with Oakland. Tell us about some of the stuff that you got to do that didn't include just being in Oakland.
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about both. So I stayed 32 years in Oakland. I bounced around my first year, which is pretty normal. You do vacation relief, and you kind of just bounce around, learn the city, and you learn your craft from different crews because everybody has a specialty. Mm-hmm. I ended up at Station 8, which is at 51st and Telegraph. It's a double house. So engine, truck, and at that time we also had a battalion chief and a chief's operator. And being a senior, I ended up staying there for 31 of my 32 years. Probably about 30 to 35,000 calls under my belt with Oakland. Mm-hmm. But during that time, went out to Ground Zero, 9/11. That was pretty tough. Our USAR team was sent, and USAR team is divided up by a red team and a blue team. The red team was up. I was on the blue team. I did not get deployed, and was pretty upset about not going. So we kind of gathered up a small contingent of firefighters, and as soon as the skies opened up, we went out on our own.
Okay.
I was also involved in the 1989 earthquake, where I was the lead team member in a pretty difficult rescue.
Yeah.
Where we had to make some really unthinkable decisions.
Yeah, that was the collapse of the Cypress structure, for those of you who don't remember. And they had a really intensive contingent of people having to go inside the collapse and remove people from there, some that survived, some that didn't. And unfortunately, they had to remove other people that were in the way of the people that were going to survive that had not survived. And we won't go into too much detail, but anybody who's had to do sort of an unthinkable extrication where somebody's trapped and, something has to give. And so you had to participate in that with Dr. Betts, I'm assuming.
I worked with a doctor from Highland Hospital named Dr. Glenn Fry. He was head of the ER department.
Yep.
And then once it was decided we were not going to be able to remove this child without removing his leg, that's when Dr. Betts from Children's Hospital came on board.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So you being a sort of the perfect size for a confined space rescue. Right?
I was.
Yeah.
You know what?
All those big guys making fun of you, they weren't making fun at that point.
No. And I remember there was a part in the rescue where I had to go in on the trunk lid to get to the little boy. Mm-hmm. And I remember I had to take off my belt and take my wallet out of my pants.
Wow.
And let all the air out of my chest cavity just to get in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be terrifying for almost anybody to have to be in that situation. And so you get through that. And then what is one of the other, you got, were you at the hurricane? You're at Hurricane Katrina as well?
I was at Hurricane Katrina as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of experience. You retired after 32 years.
Yeah.
And tell us about, maybe for the folks who obviously don't know your story, how you ended up coming to us. And so this is not really about us and our work with First Responders Resiliency, although folks who are listening to the podcast are probably familiar with our work. But in part, like the human condition, I like to say when people talk about our work, they're like, wow, everyone should be doing this. And I say, it is the human condition. We just happen to be first responders helping first responders. And now you've gone from being a client to an ambassador for our work, and you're out there knocking on doors and helping your colleagues, which is something I think happens to most of us who end up working with other first responders. We're like, okay, I got to go out and save my brothers and sisters. So do you mind sharing a little bit about how you ended up within
how I got here?
How you got here?
Well, sure. So I was a single dad. I raised two kids, Zach and Alex. They are now 24 and 27. And my kids had left home. I had left my career. And I kind of lost a little sense of identity and purpose, parenting, firefighting. But what I found really interesting, and I find this as a common theme with my colleagues that are retired, why we are working, we have these really odd mechanisms in the firehouse, in the ambulance, in the ER, to keep us sharp, crisp, not to feel. You know, if we go to a horrific call or, you know, adolescent fatalities or whatever the call could be that's sad, there was no checking in.
Right.
You good? I'm good. You okay?
I'm okay. Yeah.
I got it. That was it. That was our mental wellness program.
Yeah, I think I like to say it was Suck It Up Buttercup was our mental wellness program in Oakland.
Yes. So I got really, I had a really, really tough, full black box. It was 3 inches thick of steel.
Yeah.
And I kind of got lost when my kids left. And then there was an event. There was a catalyst event for me.
Okay.
That really was, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah. So I had a best friend. His name was Blue Jay, and he came down with ALS.
Yeah, Lou Gehrig's disease. Yeah.
Yeah, horrible disease. And Blue and I were just as close as two men can possibly be without being partners.
Yeah.
I would spend Tuesday nights at his house in his bed to give his wife a night off because it's exhausting.
Yeah.
You know, can you spread my feet? Can you move my hands? Can you itch my ear?
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with Lou Gehrig's ALS, it's a progressively paralyzing disease that depends on where it starts. But yeah, the patient can't use their body parts anymore, so you're having to move those body parts for them.
Everything.
Yeah.
Except the really sad thing about it is it leaves your mind perfectly intact.
That's right.
So Blue asked his wife Julie, his children Henry and Ava. Blue asked me to do him a favor, and I said, "What do you need?" And he said, "Would you give me my end of life medication?"
Yeah. So
I agreed to that, and it's called Death with Dignity here in California. Mm-hmm. So I called Death with Dignity first of all to what was I doing? Wanted to make sure it was legal, and then I needed some support. What could I expect? What could my patient expect?
Right.
I wanted somebody to talk me through it.
Yeah.
So they were really very supportive, really helpful. And I thought through my work and my years of firefighting, I was prepared for that.
Yeah.
And I was prepared. I wasn't prepared for it to be the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
And it's not that any one particular fire incident came up. It was that my body had stored enough pain.
I love that phrase. And I don't want to interrupt what you're going to say, because we talk about when you start doing the work to get well, we call that invisible progress. But I think it would be fair to refer to what you're talking about as sort of invisible destruction. You know, we use that phrase within the organization as you can't read the label from inside the jar. So rarely as a first responder do you recognize that your body is storing all these memories. So go on. I apologize.
No worries. So I did some conventional talk therapy, and my therapist asked me a really interesting question that really, it really knocked me on my ass. And he said, "Did you ever leave work sad?" And, you know, with thousands of calls, and I never left work sad.
Yeah.
So all of that pain, grief, sadness was all stored up inside. Yeah. And so about a few weeks after Blue had passed, I sunk on my couch. I was in a really beautiful relationship. I was engaged to get married, and my partner asked me, she says, "You know, I love you so much," but she says, she goes, "You disappear."
Yeah.
And she goes, "You know, if you can't tell me where you go, I can't stay engaged in this relationship." And she says, "Where do you go?" And I had no idea. And I couldn't answer that question. I'm a smart guy. I have a lot of worldly experience. I came from a pretty good family, streetwise. And when I couldn't answer that question, for lack of a better term, as we say now in our conferences, I was in the backyard with a bottle of whiskey and a handgun. I was ready to check out. Mm-hmm. I was miserable.
Yeah.
I didn't know what...
Take your time.
I didn't know what was wrong with me. So I gathered my thoughts partially. Mm-hmm. I was a mess. Mm-hmm. And I started calling agencies regarding PTSD, seeking some help. Mm-hmm. I really had no idea I suffered from PTSD.
Right.
Now that I'm very educated in the subject, I knew that I had PTSD for a long time.
Everybody in our industry has it. And I just want to say that, if you're in this industry and you say, well, there are guys in the house or gals on the job that have been doing it 20 years and they don't have it, so I don't have it, which is nonsense. We may not know we have it. It's like anything else. You may not have the symptoms yet, but you can still be a carrier.
Well, looking back now at my work history, at the end of my career, as I mentioned, I really loved my crews. I loved the work I did. I loved helping people. It's my calling. Mm-hmm. I can make somebody feel at ease when things are really unpleasant.
Yeah.
But having done this work with you and just educating myself, at the end of my career, I was calling in sick a lot. At the change of shift, crews would talk about an incident they had the day before, a big incident, a bad call. I would get all these emotions brewing in me because I could be at that call and I wasn't even at the call.
You bet.
But I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I'm feeling some emotion and I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought.
So you were making some phone calls looking for some help.
Thank you. So anyway, I was calling around and I called this amazing organization called First Responders Resiliency. Huh. And lo and behold, my dear friend Susan called me right away. And I knew that my partner was moving out of the house, and I'll just remember this so clearly. And she says, "You need to get your ass up to my conference." I said, "When is it?" Sue said, "It's in 10 days. I said, "When's your conference after that?" And she said, "It's a couple of months after that." I said, "I'll come to that one." And you said to me, "Do you want 3 days with your partner or do you want the rest of your life with your partner?" Mm. And so I came up to the conference and my journey began.
Wow.
Of healing, inner joy, understanding, self-love, better listener, better communicator.
Yeah.
And so many beautiful little tributaries from the river of PTSD.
Oh, what a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's really sweet because, we do a lot of work. The work we do is with education and training. We're not a therapy program. We resource people out to therapists and recovery if that's what you need. But this is a training and education program that's based in science. And what I love about the work that you've done is you didn't just go through the conference, which you said was life-changing for you, but it really was a launch pad for you to start diving into other areas. And I think I think that's what we want to remember is that there's not one way for each person. I kind of, bristle a little when I hear someone say, "Oh yeah, this is the cure for PTSD," or "Oh yeah, this is the mode that people use that make things go away." And the truth is, it's not the same for everybody. How you're affected, why you're affected, what it's tied to, what your memories are, all of that, what your experiences were, the colleagues that you have. It's so different for all of us, but we have to continue to do the work, whatever that work is for you. I call it a charcuterie tray. You learn a lot of techniques in our conference, but then there's lots of techniques and options available.
So when I share Because I will talk to anybody and everybody that will listen.
Yeah.
And if they won't listen, I call them back until they listen. Especially people that are in the industry currently, because I so believe in this work and this program. But I share, this is what works for me.
Yeah.
And it's really, it's what you learn at the conference. But what is the biggest takeaway for me, it's a lifestyle change.
Yeah, it is.
You know, I'm filling myself with positive thoughts every day.
You're choosing to be in the driver's seat of your life and
Yes.
not just reacting to what life is throwing at you.
Yeah, and there's, you know, you've mentioned this comment to me. So much of what you say resonates with me. I have a lot of bad calls under my belt. A lot of memories that used to be seated inside of me.
Yeah.
They don't reside in here anymore. They're part of me. They're part of my life. They're part of my work history. And they pass through from time to time.
Yeah.
But they don't take up residency.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And I think one of the things I'd love to discuss a little bit today, because one of the things that I think you and I are sort of experiencing together, being at the end, on the far side of our careers, you know, where we've come to a place where we've done the job most of our lives and then seen our colleagues get sick, right? That's, you know, obviously you know my story, which is the reason I started the organization is because I'd gotten sick, but it wasn't just that I had gotten sick. It's that so many of my partners had gotten sick.
Right.
Like I've been doing the work long enough to recognize that, man, I had a lot of partners who were getting organ cancer.
Sure.
I had gotten organ cancer. I had a lot of partners who were divorced, a lot of partners who were addicted, more than a handful that had taken their lives. And when you're in the middle of it, you don't really see that. It's when you're outside of it that you look back and go, holy cow, whoa, what is happening to this group of people that we're working together? And one of the things that I think we're really aware of now and what we're really focusing some of our energy into is not only just helping educate people about why this work is so necessary before people start to suffer from the symptoms. We're not saying that you're not going to run bad calls and that you're not going to have exposures that are going to hurt you, but we're going to give you techniques to help mitigate some of those symptoms so that you don't store them, right? But more importantly, the retirees. So we want to get to the young people, obviously, before they're impacted. We want to help the people who are on the job who might need some tools and techniques and some, you know, we're all first responders here. We're not clinicians and we're not civilians. We're first responders helping first responders. Yet one of the things that we really have recognized is when people are preparing to retire, there's really no transitional program that we need to have something in maybe the 3 years before they retire. Hey, this is what's coming. There are some changes that are going to happen. You may or may not be aware of those changes. Sometimes we know academically. I think that's the way you put it. You know academically the change is going to happen.
Right.
But you don't know what it feels like until you're experiencing it. It's kind of like having a kid. People can tell you what it's going to be like, but until you're there, you have no idea.
Yes, and it's also the loss of purpose.
Yeah.
Your paramedic, police, fire people hold us in high regard. It is in a very exciting lifestyle and career.
Yeah.
And work. And everybody that I worked with loved what they do.
Yeah.
And if you just retire because it's time, your body's saying, hey, enough, or you get medically retired, or now they're taking PTSD retirements, you're right. There is no preparation on how to deal with all of the loss that comes along with retiring.
Yeah. I think one of the things I love most about the work that we get to do is we help people find their joy, right? We not only teach them how to sleep and discharge some of the symptoms, but we help them find their joy again. And that's because you're choosing a path. You described it really well about you're changing the direction of your life. You're waking up in the morning and you're already starting a mantra about how you want this day to go. And you're not letting, as I like to say, when you've done this work, you create neural pathways that can be very negative. We start being exposed to the worst of society And now we start to think everybody's a dirtbag, right? We start feeling that way. We don't really like people. We don't like to go to events. And we start isolating ourselves from people who are not like us. And that feels real normal to us, which is, the problem is that Abby someone, right? Abby normal. We're not actually behaving in a way that is normal. But when you're working with your colleagues and they're doing that, it does seem a little normal. And so I like when you talked about how you were going through this experience. And the funny thing is, hear you say, I could talk to anybody. But when you were beginning to really not feel good, you didn't really talk to anybody about that, did you?
I talked to no one.
Right. It's interesting, right? It's as smart as we think we are, as much as you and I know about this industry and the work that we're doing now, it's shocking that it really still is a brand new topic. Like, mental wellness is not a brand new topic. The subject of proactive mental wellness is really a new subject. It's about getting ahead before people begin to suffer.
Well, when we go to academies, police, fire, they teach you how to apprehend a suspect, throw a ladder. Our industry is very archaic. It doesn't change. Yeah. We still throw a ladder. We still pull hoses. And we
still chase suspects.
Still chase suspects, and we still put water on fire.
Yeah.
But they don't teach us anything how to take care of our most important tool, and that's our mind.
There you go. And what was it your sister said to you?
When I was knee-deep in trouble, she says, it's time for you to go into your own burning house.
Yeah, because you've been putting out other people's burning houses your whole life.
Yeah.
It's funny that I think intrinsically maybe we all start to believe that taking care of ourselves is selfish. And I think we pride ourselves on focusing on other people and knowing what your problems are. And we really are very externally focused, but to our own detriment. Because when we don't stop to say, what's happening to my nervous system? That's the key, right? Is my nervous system. What's happening to my nervous system? What are my loved ones telling me? What are they noticing in me that I may not be seeing? And when we really start to look at that and recognize, especially in a room full of other first responders, how do I do some of these techniques that help me sleep better, feel better, think better, breathe better? When we start learning how to provide healthy nutrition, water, all of the things that I think we all sort of assume are common sense.
Yeah.
Boy, just a little bit of a degree, a little compound growth in these areas makes massive changes in your life.
Yeah, and I would also say, a better parent, a better partner,
yeah,
a better communicator, a better listener.
Yeah.
We all know too well being in this industry, but, you and I have 80 years between us as first responders.
That means that we're each 40, so we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We are really good at taking care of everybody else except ourselves.
Yeah. Including our partners.
Yes.
And our children and our friends.
Yeah.
And our neighbors. So it doesn't really, I think I like to say that smoking or non-smoking, we tell ourselves, oh yeah, when I leave the department, I'll shut it off. And you don't ever shut it off, because the reality is if you see something go down and you're an officer, you're probably going to get involved. If you see a car accident when you're off duty, you're probably going to get involved. If you see a medical aid go down when you're off duty, you're probably going to get involved.
I look for them.
Well, that just means that you're more sick than the rest of us. But, I mean, we're all ill to some degree, and that's why we do what we do. When we're talking to the retirees, so just in relationship to the retirees, which I think it's really important, because you made a really sweet comment one time. I heard you speaking, and you said, this is the first time in my entire life that I have truly been happy.
That's true. If I was to have passed away for any reason, this whole journey began in August of 2024. Mm-hmm. And if I was to have passed away for any cause prior to that, I would have passed away internally, miserable. Mm. And what was really interesting, I'm the youngest of 5 children, come from a really big family. I have an amazing network of community and friends.
Yeah.
I presented really well to the outside world.
Oh, aren't we so good at that?
Yeah. So I was hiding in plain sight. Mm-hmm. And so when I came out and shared that I was really struggling, people were so surprised.
Yeah.
Here is this pillar in the community, single dad.
Cheerful, funny.
All of those things. But inside, Michael with Michael, oh so sad.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I don't know that we even recognize it. It's, what do they say? You don't know that you're depressed until you're out of it. And you look back and you go, holy cow, how was I managing? It's really hard even now to go to pinnings and promotions and just, because this is the work we do. You scan the room and you're like, oh, yeah. And you can see it, right? You can see the sort of the empty stares. You can see the folks who are, you can tell they're not being kind to themselves internally or externally. And they've lost that sense of purpose, that sense of joy, that
Self.
What's that?
Sense of self.
Sense of self. Yeah. And it's interesting that I think when people think, if I'm going to do this work, I'm going to become soft. But the truth is, and we work with everyone from federal law enforcement to local police, local fire, EMS, emergency room personnel, dispatchers, communications people, it doesn't make you soft. It actually makes you wise. You become better at what you do. Your reaction times improve. It's like the whole thing is to help you become a better human being on or off the job.
Right.
Because who deserves it more than the people who risk their lives to save the lives of others? Who deserves the knowledge of how to care for themselves and make themselves a priority more?
Well, it gives us a chance to honor ourselves.
Yeah. You're going to steal all our taglines.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
it's on the back of our hats now. It says, honor you.
I'm a good student.
You are a good student. And ultimately, our tagline is putting PTSD out of business. And the intention is to educate people about it, right? From the time that they're going to go into the industry, whether or not you see it's happening, the change is going to take place. And here are some techniques you can use to mitigate that. And if you start to feel bad, like you said, back deck of the house with a bottle of whiskey and a handgun, wait a minute. Oh, this is my brain doing this to me.
It's my nervous system.
This is my nervous system.
That's right.
And we're in that kind of chronic state of fight or flight, yeah?
Yeah, I actually think it takes so much more strength to address this work than to not address it.
Yeah.
It made me a much stronger person. It takes a lot of guts to face things that make you unhappy, that are internal. And I didn't know I had that strength.
I have a couple of questions for you. The obvious one I'm going to plant now, which is what would you tell a colleague about learning to care for themselves, however they do that? Doesn't have to be through us, but just being aware of it. But more importantly, knowing what you know today, what would the older you say to the younger you?
Learn to take care of yourself.
Make you a priority.
Make yourself a priority. It's okay to see something sad and to feel sad about it.
It's not a sign of weakness.
No, it's a sign of compassion and beauty.
And humanity.
That's right.
And that doesn't actually make us more vulnerable at work. It actually, when you're actually able to process the emotions, that actually probably makes you better at your job. Because our fear is that if I start to feel, I won't be able to escape it. And the reality is, if you start to feel, it'll probably release some of it so that you can go back and do your job even better.
That's right. As you know, as well as I do, pre-hospital care, talking about the medical side of the fire industry, is so fascinating because you never know where it's going to be. It's certainly not going to be in a sterile hospital room or an ER.
Yeah.
And more importantly, or interestingly, there's usually family there. So you have the emotional aspect of not only the patient that you're caring for, but the parent, the grandparent, the brother, the sister, the husband or wife. You have that whole emotional part of the call that is also so taxing on us.
Yeah. Yeah, just when you said that, I realized how many times have we walked out of an ER dropping off a patient and the family's arriving and they're hysterical. and you're thinking to yourself, I know who that is.
Yeah.
I know who that is. Yeah, it's a lot to take in. So when you're talking to your colleagues, I mean, obviously you've got this great passion about the work and helping your colleagues.
So I'm calling colleagues that I know, and I am calling people in the industry and colleagues that I don't know, and I am pounding on doors.
Yeah.
And when I talk to fire chiefs, assistant chiefs, deputy chiefs, and I'm pretty much speaking to larger departments. And I'll ask them, I was just on the phone with a large Bay Area department, and I said, how many members do you have? And the BC said, we're a little above 700. And I said, Chief, I said, I can guarantee you got somebody off gas and alcohol right now,
Mm-hmm.
or using on the job.
Yeah.
Or somebody that called in sick because they're not sick, but they can't figure out why they can't come to work.
And of course, the BC knows that, right? Because you can't manage a team of even 5 where there's not somebody struggling.
He said, I know, you're right.
Yeah.
And that call was 3 days ago.
So interesting. It's like when we talk about it, it seems so obvious, right? So obvious. And we can talk to anybody, and we have.
Yes.
It's so obvious. And yet we still find that departments are not budgeting for the behavioral wellness of their personnel until after something goes wrong. And that's, I think, the most important thing to remember is that oftentimes we wait until a first responder is in trouble before we do something. And by then you're behind the 8 ball. If we can teach people to care for themselves before they start to exhibit the symptoms and they start to recognize what's happening, then we have a better chance of helping them maintain. If they don't have to maintain their career, they can retire if they need to, but to maintain their lives in a way that's healthy and whole.
Well, I think what this work does or would do for departments, it's going to make them a resilient department.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They're going to learn how to mitigate a bad call. They're going to learn to talk amongst, use their peer support, their EAP. Not that we're against that.
Right.
We're in favor of those.
Yeah. As long as the peers are trained in resiliency.
That's right.
Not just in education around how to help other people.
So I think, it has a huge impact on a department. Healthier department, I believe, less sick leave, less injury leave, healthier retirees.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we'll talk to anybody that will listen.
Yeah. And the truth is, when we began this organization, it was 8 years ago now, just about 2 weeks ago. It was our eighth birthday. When we started this organization, I don't think there was anything out there, because obviously if I thought there was something out there, I wouldn't have sold my house to start an organization because we needed something, and I was just sick enough of the fact that all of the people I had worked with were struggling to some degree, and they were waiting until they were sick before they were offering them help, and I knew we could do something in advance of that. But if you look now, today, they're popping up every day. There are organizations, kind of like it was with the veterans, right? You're seeing all these first responder organizations. So, like I said, it doesn't have to be us necessarily, but resiliency is a key component to your survival, to your health, to your happiness, to your joy. And if people want to know about our work, they can go to our website, which is resiliency1st.org, and learn more about our work. If you're looking for resources that we don't offer, we can send you that information. You'll probably get a phone call from someone like Michael. And let me just ask, before we kind of tie up our time together, number one, is there anything that I didn't ask that you'd like to share? And number two, what would you tell your fellow colleagues who are about to retire? Because that's, I think, a big audience that we're trying to reach. Because the young ones don't necessarily know. They're still eager and excited, and they think it's not going to happen to them. But those who've got some time under their belts, they know they're experiencing it.
So I'm actually reaching out to colleagues that are close to retirement or a couple of years away. And I tell them, if you want to give yourself the best gift ever, come to one of these conferences.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself.
And honor yourself.
And become a better you, a happier you, a more joyful you, a better husband.
A better mother.
Thank you. A better mother.
A better friend.
Just a better human.
Yeah. Ooh, just a better human.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you find that joy inside of yourself, and your circumstances stop controlling you.
Yeah. So I'm just, I'm so thankful that you returned my call so quickly. I'm so glad I met you and became part of this organization. It not only saved my life, but it really changed my life in a really beautiful way. That's really lasting and sinking in. And I love the new lifestyle and gratitude and meditation and it's been a winning ticket for me.
It's been a winning ticket. And the thing I love about you, and I will say this for any first responder who is listening, and we help families as well, right? Because obviously for the first responders, there's often family members who, spouses, partners, lovers, whatever, that are at home wondering what the heck is going on and how do I reach them? So we do that training for you as well and help you learn how to care for yourself so that you can care for others. But the thing that I love about you, Michael, and this is, I think, probably a testament to the way that we all feel as the first responder instructors, is you've caught the bug when what you want to do is turn around and save your colleagues. Yeah. And you did. You came in, you got the help, you started doing the work, and you immediately turned around and started helping everybody who would listen, just telling them, you deserve this, to know this information. We're not selling you a widget. We're giving you an opportunity to change your life and get your joy back.
You know what? Sometimes I feel like a salesperson because I will not take no for an answer.
Yeah. Why we're friends.
And it's not because I'm selling anything.
Yeah.
It's because I believe in this work.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't even think you need to be a first responder. Any human would benefit from this program. 100%.
I agree with that. It's a human condition. And we just happen to be first responders, helping first responders. But if you want to know more about our work, if you want to learn more about Michael, please go to our website and cheer us on, encourage us, ask questions, whatever it is that you need. We're just here for you. And I'm so grateful that you're willing to sit down with me today and share a little bit about your history and who you are.
Thanks for having me, Sue. I really appreciate it.
I am so sure there's someone out there listening right now thinking, old dude, I could relate to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love you.
I love you too.
Welcome to the team. And for all of you out there, we'll be seeing you again. Yeah. We'll be doing more of these. And actually, I think our next meeting is going to be with the drummer of Def Leppard, Rick Allen, who now works with our organization with his beautiful bride, Lauren Monroe. They do drum circles at all of our conferences.
They're amazing.
Isn't that a crazy healing? You would think it's an Indian shaman thing, but it's actually based in heart coherence. The power of that. And to meet Rick and Lauren is a truly incredible experience. They're fun, humble, gentle, wonderful people. So that's going to be our next podcast, I think. We're going to have them on here. Oh,
exciting.
Yeah. And so thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
For everybody else, let's go change the world together.
All right. Be
safe
out there.
Thanks, everybody.